There's some stuff in this video. Her dad is here. It's a little uncomfortable for her and kind of funny, actually. She doesn't like shooting these kind of scenes with him around.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, bro.
Peers doing so well and doing so good, it's inspiring for you to try and do better.
Do you ever feel overprotected by the people around you?
No, because I'm here right now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
When he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
Not a single celebrity has come out to defend Diddy. Not one.
Hey Cassie, how are you? How do you feel about all the allegations with Diddy going on right now?
We've been finding out more and more information about Diddy recently, and somehow Britney Spears has been involved in all of this. Yep, you heard that right, so let's look into her involvement. TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group is the celebrity management firm that previously came under fire for its alleged involvement in Britney Spears' conservatorship battle. Turns out though, they also have a connection to Diddy. The company's founder, president, and CEO is none other than Britney's former business manager, Lou M. Taylor, who she accused of playing a key role in the conservatorship's implementation in 2008. Now, we know that sketchy things were happening with Britney, so who knows what horrible things this group has done in connection to Diddy. Now, Lou actually managed Diddy too, as she confirmed it in 2019. Britney has also previously called out TriStar Services director Robin Greenhill, who was recently mentioned in a civil lawsuit against Diddy by producer Rodney Little Rod Jones. In 2021, it was revealed that Greenhill was in control of Britney's credit cards, medications, and that TriStar had allegedly used Britney's own money to hire a security team to surveil her during her conservatorship, which is honestly just crazy. Now, Britney even spoke out about Greenhill in her memoir, labeling her a weird blank lackey, and accused the pair, along with her own father, Jamie Spears, of bullying her. Now, it was also previously reported by the Los Angeles Times that Britney's legal team was investigating the alleged $18 million that TriStar obtained from her estate over the span of the conservatorship, which was terminated by a judge in November 2021 after 13 years. TriStar, Taylor, and Greenhill have all denied the allegations and have insisted that Britney's conservatorship was put forth by recommendation of legal counsel, not TriStar, and approved by the court for more than 12 years. Now, they mistreated Britney so poorly, and it appears that they helped Diddy cause harms to others. Now, Greenhill's name was back in the press this year after Rodney Little Rod Jones filed a $30 million lawsuit against Diddy, claiming that he mistreated and took advantage of him. Now, Rodney also claimed that Diddy made him a witness to multiple crimes against his own will as well. Now, how does this relate to Britney? Well, she accused the company and its founder, her former manager, Lou Taylor, of helping create and benefiting from the conservatorship agreement put in place by her father, Jamie Spears, in 2008, which she described as traumatizing in her court statements. Now, Britney claimed that TriStar had received $18 million in the conservatorship arrangement, even though Britney didn't have access to her own earnings. Now, the New York Times reported that Greenhill had been an important agent in the company's interest in the conservatorship by controlling her credit cards and medications well beyond what one would expect a pop star's management company to do. Now, a lot of the company's inner workings for how it manages its accounts are kept under lock and key, the paper reported, with two former employees saying they weren't allowed to access basic information like income statements or balance sheets. TriStar first tried to deny it helped originate Britney's conservatorship, which her attorney challenged by presenting the court with an email that showed its reps discussing the arrangement at its origination. The New York Times documentary about Britney's case included allegations that TriStar and Greenhill specifically had operated an elaborate surveillance apparatus to spy on the pop star. But how did this all start? Well, everyone knows about Britney's meltdowns in 2006 and 2007. Now, later, at the beginning of 2008, she was put on a 5150 hold in the hospital. A week after this, she was sent back to the hospital on a 5150 hold again, and her father Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship over the star. Now, soon after the conservatorship was in place, she said her father said, "I just want to let you know, I call the shots. You sit there in that chair and I'll tell you what goes on," she recalled. "I looked at him with a growing sense of horror. I'm Britney Spears now," he said. Now, Britney also spoke out about the 13-year conservatorship, and she hit out at her dad Jamie in the explosive memoir as she opened up about the unrelenting control her family had over her, which looking back makes her feel sick. Now, people in Hollywood knew that this was happening but didn't do anything. Finally, in 2019, fans started to realize that something was wrong, and they created the Free Britney movement. Now, with fans backing Britney up, she felt like she finally had a voice and requested the conservatorship to end. Now, she and her father appeared in court multiple times over the year, and on November 12, 2021, the conservatorship was finally over. Now, it seems like TriStar and its employees are always getting in trouble and should honestly be investigated. While Britney is free now, some people don't think she got the justice she deserved. Now that TriStar is intertwined with Diddy, maybe the company and its employees will now be held accountable. Now, Diddy, though, for his part, claims that he's innocent. Now, Diddy is currently awaiting trial at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He's proposed different bail packages, but they've all been denied. Defense lawyer Alexandra Shapiro asked them to release Diddy on a $50 million bond, which would be backed by his $48 million Miami home and co-signed by several of his family members. Now, she also proposed that Diddy be monitored around the clock by security personnel, be subjected to at-home detention, and have no contact with alleged victims or witnesses. One of the judges who denied this package, Judge Robin Tarnofsky, sided with U.S. Attorney's argument that Diddy posed a risk if he were to be released for home detention. She said, "I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you, given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of substance use and what seems like anger issues. The danger, I think, is quite serious," she added of Diddy's release, deciding that the bond package his team offered would not assure his return to court or the safety of the community or lack of witness tampering. In a September 17th letter to the judge arguing for Diddy to be jailed until he was brought to trial, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams claimed that his office has the testimony of dozens of witnesses and victims to his serial mistreatment and evidence from dozens of his own electronic devices and those of his co-conspirators. Investigators have taken in more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as at least 30 storage devices. They issued more than 300 grand jury subpoenas to obtain this evidence from communication providers, tech and social media companies, financial institutions, and Diddy's companies. Prosecutors allegedly have dozens of videos depicting Diddy's so-called freak-offs that corroborate witness testimony. Oprah Winfrey has been connected to Diddy multiple times in the press recently, from being friends, going to parties together, and even being on her talk show together. Now, recently, new footage was leaked from Diddy's parties, including Oprah in them. So, what's going on? Well, a source sent Page 6 a VHS tape that was sent out as an invitation to the mogul's 29th birthday party in 1998. It's a combination of celebrities inviting you to Diddy's birthday party. Starting off the video, though, is Oprah, which stands out a lot. Other celebrities seen in the tape include Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Magic Johnson, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, Joan Rivers, Steven Tyler, and Tommy Hilfiger. Now, it begins with a strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito's lying on a sofa under a blanket and says, "That's right, Puff Daddy is having a party, and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." Then the group of celebs take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the party will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. They then say that the venue would be revealed later. Now that many people have seen this, they think the celebrities in the video were involved in Diddy's crime ring. They're all consulting their lawyers, one TikTok user said, and another wrote, "This is a whole videoed list of participants and accomplices." Yeah, it just doesn't look good for Oprah. Now, due to this being leaked, there have been claims that Oprah has fled the country. People have also said that the result of the presidential election has also affected Oprah's decision to leave the limelight. Kamala Harris had a lot of celebrities promote her and go to her rallies, and one celebrity who endorsed her was Oprah. But the Washington Examiner had reported that Oprah's media company, Harbo Productions, had received a fee from Harris's campaign for a star-studded live interview in September. Now, the price tag, it was said that it was $1 million. Now, this is just crazy and it has people upset at the Star. Why? Well, Harris's campaign sent out a bunch of messages to civilians asking for donations for the campaign, and fans are not happy that some of their money went to Oprah, who has a net worth of $3 billion. Yes, billion with a B. Now, you'd think Oprah would make an appearance out of the goodness of her heart, but oh no. One person on Twitter said, "Just embarrassing that anyone thought that Lady Gaga or Oprah were going to swing enough votes to justify this is insane." Someone else said, "All of this is so slimy and disgusting. At Oprah is so utterly repugnant." A third said, "Those performers should be ashamed of themselves. This is Trump-level grifting and is just one of many reasons you'll never see me donate a penny to a politician." Now, Oprah, though, has spoken out against this, saying, "Not true. I was paid nothing ever." Now, with this new information revealed, reports from the New York Times, citing two informed sources, revealed that Harbo Productions received nearly $2.5 million, rather than the previously estimated $1 million for the September town hall featuring Harris. It was then said that Oprah donated $150 million to the campaign, but that was false too. Nicole Nichols, a spokesperson for Oprah, told USA Today the show host had not donated to Harris's campaign. No donations to Harris from Oprah or her company Harbo Incorporated are listed on the Federal Election Commission website, a nonpartisan research group that tracks US political spending. Now, it's just a mess for Oprah right now, and this isn't the first controversy she's faced in recent years. This year, she's been called out for how she's spoken about losing weight and how she actually lost weight. Now, all throughout Oprah's career, she's been made fun of for her weight, and she ended up partnering with Weight Watchers, a weight loss plan company. Now, recently, Oprah lost a lot of weight, and she attributed it to Weight Watchers, but it was then revealed that she was lying. She finally revealed that she was using an unnamed weight loss medication, and that's how she was able to lose a lot of weight. So it wasn't the program that she had been promoting for all these years, which made a lot of people feel lied to. Now, a lot of people even claim that Oprah cheated with her weight loss. Then in 2024, Oprah decided to step down and stop working with Weight Watchers altogether. Many people are saying that she's a sellout and that everything she's ever stood for was a lie. While she did not specify the medication she's been taking, it's very likely that she's taking Ozempic or something Ozempic adjacent, which is all the craze with celebrities right now who are trying to lose weight. In 1988, she showed off her new slim figure by taking off an oversized coat and wheeling out a wagon holding 67 pounds of animal fat, the amount she had lost in less than 5 months. Now, this episode grew huge attention, earning the highest ratings in the show's history. However, years later, Oprah expressed regret about it, stating that it was simply an ego trip and admitting that she eventually regained all the weight. Now, Oprah is still receiving pushback from her Maui fund Now, Oprah is also still receiving pushback from her Maui fund she created with The Rock after a bunch of wildfires hit Hawaii in August 2023. It caused a lot of devastation in the community, so Oprah and The Rock created a foundation where money would go right into the pockets of those who were affected. It was a good idea for sure, but the problem people had with it was that the two celebrities only donated $10 million, and then they posted online asking everyday people for help. Now, this made people angry for a couple of reasons, but the main one was the fact that Oprah did not donate that much. As mentioned before, Oprah is worth $3 billion. I mean, she could have given every resident $100,000 and barely see a dent in her bank account. Oprah has always been about giving back to the community, but to some people, it felt like she wasn't helping as much as she could. Then there was the fact that she was asking everyday people for donations when a lot of people are already going through financial struggles these days. Many people question why she wasn't asking her other wealthy celebrity friends to help, and I think these are all valid complaints, but Oprah ended up actually just making it worse for herself. All the online conversations being slammed, lies, conspiracy theories really took the focus off what was the most important thing, and that was the people of Maui. Oprah and The Rock then thought about how they'd been giving to charity their whole lives and felt like starting with $10 million worked because it was enough to kick things off before opening the Maui Wildfires Fund up to people who wanted to help but didn't know how. Oprah said, "I was so excited about it. Then I got up the next morning and I saw all this vitriol and I was like, whoa, what happened here?" Yeah, now that honestly was not a good response at all. So with all this hate against Oprah, will she really leave Hollywood and the United States? I mean, she has the funds to do so what's to stop her? From her Diddy controversy to her lying to fans and being greedy, could this be the end? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We all know that Jennifer Lopez used to date Diddy, but now her ex-husband is claiming that J-Lo attended Diddy's parties and actually knew what was going on. Ohani Noah, J-Lo's first husband, took to social media to distance himself from any connection to Diddy's freak-off parties, but claimed that J-Lo was one of multiple celebrities present at them. While we do know that J-Lo has been to Diddy parties, as there's photographic evidence, there has been nothing official put out about her involvement in freak-offs. Now, in a post on Instagram, Noah shared a list of stars who have allegedly attended Diddy's parties, one being J-Lo. "I'm not on the list," he captioned the post. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no. Never. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, did. Ask her. Noah, who married J-Lo in February 1997, before the couple divorced less than a year later, blames their split on Diddy's working relationship with J-Lo. Now, that relationship was created during the making of J-Lo's debut album On the 6, and it later became romantic, with Diddy and J-Lo dating between 1999 and 2001 before calling it quits. She went from Jen to being J-Lo, this big business bringing in millions, Noah once told Daily Mail of the shift of their relationship. She had all these new people around her, all wanting to make money off of her. I would call and an assistant would say, "Sorry, she's not available." Now, this isn't the first time her ex-husband has called her out. Despite the fact that they were only married for 9 months, Noah has been trying to slander his former flame to keep his name in the news by any means possible. In 2006, he set out to publish a tell-all book dubbed The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller, which Jennifer stopped with a lawsuit, claiming that her ex was breaking their confidentiality agreement. She was then awarded $545,000 in damages, and Noah was slapped with a court order which forbade him from criticizing, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. Then just 3 years later, he made headlines again when he threatened to release videos taped during the pair's honeymoon, showing the pop star in a revealing lack of clothing and in certain situations, especially in the hotel room. And this caused her to file a $10 million lawsuit against him. Meanwhile, during a 2016 appearance on $1 Million Matchmaker, he dumped blame on his former wife, saying that she caused their split, and claimed, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me." Now, after Jennifer tied the knot with Ben Affleck in July 2022, Noah publicly spoke out about her marriage. "I wish her and Ben the best, but I'm not convinced it will last," he told the Daily Mail that month. "Jen loves being in love, but she's been engaged 6 times. Ben is husband number 4. I was husband number 1, and she told me I was the love of her life." Now, it seems like in the end that he was right. Other stars have also called out J-Lo for her ties to Diddy as well. Elon Musk was speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience when he began talking about J-Lo's criticism of the recently elected president and his remarks about Puerto Ricans. He said J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend, and now all of a sudden she's warning people about Trump. How many people did she warn about Diddy? Oh, 0. Maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion, he said. He added, people in the music industry had to know that Diddy was doing all those things. Where's the accountability? They had to know. Suge Knight also believes that J-Lo's and Ben's marriage fell apart because Homeland Security informed him that she was on the tapes that they found at Diddy's. "It's a white man who got respect in the white world," Knight said on his podcast Collect Calls. "I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife. I'm quite sure they headed for divorce because that's a man who had a good life. Great parents, don't spend a lot of money, ain't tripping off paparazzi, he's living his life. He got his own team, she done brought all that extra out, and now that mother effer he want out." Now, on the other hand though, Thea D'Souza, who worked with J-Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that defended the star and said that she had no involvement with any of this. "If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you're close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life." Now, she emphasized that J-Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. Now, J-Lo was recently spotted out in public interacting with fans when a paparazzi asked her, "J-Lo, do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations?" Now, immediately J-Lo stopped taking photos and giving autographs and left. Many people begged her not to leave, but she didn't listen. She wanted nothing to do with answering that question or being associated with Diddy. Now, with Diddy's recent arrest, people have been speculating on his time with J-Lo. An anonymous source said he was very controlling, he would constantly put her in uncomfortable situations, this is a good girl from the Bronx who never got into trouble or was wild. The source also said he never hurt J-Lo, but she had her longtime manager, Benny Medina, to protect her. Benny would have ended Puffy's life if he laid a finger on J-Lo. But still, Puffy was controlling and demanding. Now, there's been a conflicting report though, as another source who knew the couple at the time said he definitely manhandled her, but it's a little low to bring all this up now, it's kicking a man when he's down. Then there was the nightclub situation. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York. That night, Diddy was with his bodyguard Anthony Wolf, rapper Jamal Barrows, and Jennifer. As reported by Forbes, the incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, J-Lo, and Jamal left the scene, but the 3 were involved in a police car chase. It was then reported that J-Lo threw evidence out of the car. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J-Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. The charges against J-Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy and Jamal went to trial. Diddy faced additional charges of bribery as he had allegedly offered the driver of the car $50,000 to say the weapon was his. Diddy was acquitted of all charges, and Jamal was charged with 5 offenses, but nobody was ever charged and found guilty of the actual incident. But recently, one of Diddy's accusers, Rodney Jones, who filed a lawsuit against the star, claimed that Diddy was responsible for the incident in the nightclub in New York and alleged that Diddy bragged about using J-Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club. He shared that the artist and his girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, carried the weapon into the club for him, passed it to him after he got into an altercation with another individual, Jones is alleged in the lawsuit. All I can say about this is yikes. Now, Diddy has denied the accusations, but again, J-Lo has remained silent. Is there more to this story that J-Lo is letting on? And if she could lie about that, then has she really been involved with the crimes happening at Diddy's parties? There's so much speculation right now, but it seems like we won't get an answer about it unless J-Lo is called on to testify at Diddy's trial, which is currently set for May 5th, 2025. Oprah Winfrey is now caught up in all the Diddy drama. She's been spotted at multiple events with the disgraced rapper, and they even appear to have been great friends. Now, they attended multiple events together, and Diddy even appeared on her show. Now, the interview was just straight up weird if we're being honest, but now leaked footage shows Oprah and many other star-studded celebrities inviting people to Diddy's 29th birthday party. Among Oprah is Chris Rock, Ellen DeGeneres, Ben Stiller, Stephen Baldwin, and Will Smith. With this video being leaked, a lot more celebrities are being accused of being in cahoots with Diddy. It's crazy, anyone I see here is a suspect to me, which I honestly gotta say I agree with. I think it's foul that not one person was staying away from him then, and supposedly they knew. No one was saying a word. Didn't he have some kind of big 4th of July party that anyone who was anyone would be at every year? Those people should be just as guilty accomplices. Now, only a minute or so of the footage was released, but it said that the whole invite video is 6 minutes long. Now, will the other half of the video ever see the light of day? No one really knows, but maybe it exposes sensitive information that would make Diddy and other celebrities look bad. Regardless, it's very strange, and the fact that Oprah was a part of it is a big red flag. You see, Oprah has a pattern of being friends with rich and powerful men who end up being disgusting monsters who get arrested. Now, Diddy is just the most recent one. I wish she were real, but she isn't. Now, Rose isn't the only person to call Oprah out on this, as her former friend Seal made a post when Oprah said that we should focus on the bigger picture instead of Harvey's crimes and his victims. He said, "You have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." He said, "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually doing those things to young starry-eyed actresses. My bad." Now, Snoop Dogg has also made multiple posts calling out the star. You know it's bad when other celebrities and her past friends are calling her out. Now, if she hangs out with them, then obviously she's one of them, right? I mean, it has people thinking that she's not as good of a person as she has claimed to be her entire life. You see, Oprah was born in Mississippi to a single teenage mother and grew up in extreme poverty. During her childhood, the cost of raising Oprah became too much for her mother to handle, so Oprah was sent to live with her biological father. Since then, Oprah has come forward talking about how she had been mistreated and taken advantage of by her cousin, uncle, and a family friend. As a young teenager, and after suffering for years, she then ran away from home, and a year later she became pregnant. She then gave birth to a son, but he was premature and passed away only a few weeks later. Oprah has used this story to show her strength and to inspire people, but it seems like she might have helped continue the cycle towards young girls, which is just so upsetting. Now, Diddy's parties have been exposed as being evil, and many crimes took place there. Multiple sources have said what happened before 2 a.m. pales in comparison to what happens at 5 a.m., said a first source. Now, a second source who helped get guests for Diddy's white parties between 2006 and 2011 similarly told Us Weekly that high-profile celebrities would leave around 2 or 3 a.m. because they knew the party was going to take a turn. Girls would start to lose their clothes, and that was the signal for people to leave, explained the source, adding that's when the substances would come out, with benders lasting until 7 a.m. Now, the New York Post reported that these parties often concealed freak-off sessions that devolved into explicit encounters after the main events. An unnamed Alabama woman claimed in a suit filed in New York that in the year 2000, she was invited to a Video Music Awards after party by an associate of Diddy. There, she was mistreated by Diddy while another male celebrity and female celebrity, neither of whom were named in the suit, watched until she was able to escape. Another, an unnamed male, accuser claimed to have been taken advantage of by Diddy at a party in 2022. The accuser alleged that Diddy offered him a drink and promised to help him launch his career. Now, besides being arrested for his crimes, Diddy has also faced other consequences. On Wednesday, October 30th, the decision was made during an in-person hearing where the city commission voted entirely to strip Diddy of the honor. Now, the key was initially awarded to Diddy in 2015 for his contributions to the music industry and his involvement with the Revolt Music Conference in Miami Beach. Amid his ongoing lawsuits back in June, city officials also rescinded October 13th as Sean Diddy Combs Day. Now, this marks the second time Diddy has been stripped of a ceremonial key. In June, he returned his key to the city of New York at the request of Mayor Eric Adams, following the resurgence of a 2016 video depicting him mistreating his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Diddy's trial is set for May 5th, 2025, but it appears that other celebrities involved in the crimes are are trying to keep their name out of the news. Ray J, who was friends with Diddy, has spoken out about how some celebrities are paying off their victims when it comes to the freak-offs. Now my question is, could Oprah be one of these celebrities? Just maybe. Ray J said, "I'm hearing about artists paying victims to keep their name out of it. Somebody has the truth, somebody pays you to keep it quiet, and hopefully that money you got paid secures your happiness while you watch the lie continue to succeed." The interviewer, Harvey Levin, then pushed Ray J by asking if he knew anyone personally who had been offered money to stay quiet. The songwriter then replied, "Here's the other way around it, Harvey. I'll give you money, please don't talk." He then claimed the high-profile individuals are reaching out to him, alleging they want to talk to me about what happened to them, they call me, they feel like they can trust me. Now Levin then asked if those contacting Ray J are high-profile celebrities who have an affiliation with Diddy. He responded, "Yes, that's exactly what I am saying. And I don't know why I said it, but I said it, so what? Now they're gonna be mad, come get me." Ray J then said, "I think I said too much." In the interview, he did not name any celebrities, but it still raised eyebrows. Now Tony Busby, the attorney representing more than 120 alleged victims of Diddy, disclosed that he has sent out demand letters to celebrities, asking them to pay up or face the consequences. Tony had previously mentioned that investigations into Diddy's case had implicated several Hollywood big shots, but refrained from dropping any names. He's disclosed that he's now going after other celebrities who attended Diddy's freak-offs, even if they did nothing wrong. In a new appearance on TMZ's documentary, The Downfall of Diddy, Inside the Freak-Offs, Tony claims such big names are as guilty as those who perpetrated the crimes, explaining that their silence and unwillingness to stand against it makes them liable. So will Oprah have to pay up? I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this case, but it sure is crazy.
Puff Daddy is currently facing some serious allegations that have tarnished the reputation he built for himself in the music industry and beyond. Once a close-knit circle of celebrity friends seems to be distancing themselves in the wake of these serious allegations. Well, there's a leaked VHS tape allegedly sent as an invitation to Puffy's 29th birthday back in 1998 that has further raised a number of eyebrows. So known for his love of partying, Puff Daddy has never shied away from going out and about while hosting such events, although some of his current legal troubles reportedly stem from similar gatherings. But I digress. So the nearly 6-minute long video serves both as a time capsule from the peak of the bad boy era and as a reminder of how far Puff Daddy, who even skipped this year's Grammy Awards and is now kind of, out of action, has slipped socially amid the investigation. So the tape, which arrived in the hands of the most powerful and glamorous players in LA and New York in a black velvet pouch with the birthday gala, November 4th, 1998 written on it in white script, features, wait for it folks, Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Chris Rock, Mariah Carey, Magic Johnson, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, Joan Rivers, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tommy Hilfiger, Clive Davis, Ronald Perlman, Penny Marshall, Stephen Baldwin, and so many more. And they're all taking turns to hype the bash, encouraging the recipients to RSVP and to goof off for the camera. It all begins with a strange home video style skit in which Danny DeVito, lying on a sofa under a blanket, is like, "That's right, Puff Daddy's having a party, and this is Puff Daddy inviting you to come. Let's have a ball." And then the cavalcade of A-listers take turns reading from a script detailing the date and time, exactly how fabulous and expensive the affair will be, and then reading an address to RSVP to. Apparently the venue, which turned out to be Cipriani Wall Street, would be revealed later. One person refers to the "I'll Be Missing You" rapper as the legendary Puff Daddy. Some folks, including Ellen DeGeneres, tease him for his many monikers. Some other folks make fun of their own unease with hip-hop slang. One reliable source who attended the bash said, "I'd forgotten how much was made of the party in the press. I think bigger celebs and moguls were fascinated by the chutzpah of this 29-year-old. The Daily News reported that at the time the bash cost $600,000 and 1,600 people were on that list. The Observer compared it to Truman Capote's black and white ball at the Plaza, writing that while Truman's party was more for the creme de la creme of society, Puff Daddy was celebrating the kind of high-profile commercial success and notoriety that knows knows no bounds. So for decades, these parties were the place to be. Puff Daddy had all sorts of them. He had his annual Hamptons White Party. We had a number of blow-up birthday bashes like the one I just mentioned. There were these lavish champagne and caviar-filled soirees, and these were attended by the likes of Jay-Z, Beyonce, J-Lo, Leonardo DiCaprio, and so many more. There was chatter. Leonardo DiCaprio did step back after a snap from one of the infamous parties came to light, and a friend of his mentioned, like, look, he just went to a party, it wasn't that big of a deal, they weren't super close, but like, look, back when Leonardo showed up at Puff Daddy's White Party, the music star had tagged Leonardo as the #1 person he wanted at the bash. But apparently a source close to the situation is like, no, Leo had no connection with Puff Daddy ever since that party in 1998. The insider made it clear that the actor was not involved in the freak-offs. Well, a source shares that they were known to be wild. Anything went to those parties. And ever since all those legal things have been coming into light this year, there's been a lot of speculation about what goes on there. There's been talks of rooms just for getting it on. There's been rampant substance use. There's been these all-night getting it on situations. Apparently, and these freak-offs were mentioned in the 14-page indictment, victims were, given substances against their will, forced to participate in extended performances that could last days at a time with professional workers. These things took place at hotels. Now, we gotta remember that Puff Daddy did plead not guilty to the charges and has denied all claims of SA. How much or how little did his A-list guests actually see at these crazy parties? Well, a couple of celebs have not been tight-lipped. In a 2014 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian recalled hitting up a Puff Daddy bash in Las Vegas, and she's like, yeah, this party, I think half the people were like, in the nude. And when asked about what went down when somebody else attended, Ashton Kutcher was like, I got a lot I can't say. And he said that verbatim in 2019 on Hot Ones. He's like, yeah, going through my little Rolodex of stories, can't tell that one either. In 2016, Howard Stern asked Usher, who lived with Puff Daddy for a year when he was, getting a start in the industry. And Howard Stern was like, hey, like, would you let anybody in your family go to one of those parties? Usher was like, nope. So obviously following all of this, a lot of folks are like, okay, we were maybe at the parties, but we didn't see anything. 50 Cent has been very, very vocal for a very long time, being like, nope, I didn't go to those parties. It's an uncomfortable energy, which, like, in retrospect, probably a very smart man. Puff Daddy's friend Ray J was like, I've never seen anything that's been said there. I've never been in rooms that people are talking about. I don't think they existed. A lot of people in the industry can agree with me on that sense. Now look, apparently all the unsavory behavior took place at the after parties. What happened before 2 a.m. pales into comparison to what happened at like 5 a.m. There was a source who wrangled guests for these parties, and yeah, the high-profile celebs would apparently leave around 2 to 3 a.m., and that's when the party took a turn for the naughty. Folks would lose their clothes, which was apparently the signal for people to leave. That's when fun things would come out, and that's when it would turn into like a bender. During an intimate discussion with Oprah, peeling away the layers of his complex life, Puff Daddy evoked curiosity by avoiding details about the origin of the Puff Daddy moniker. So this conversation was part of an interview for O Magazine, and Oprah was just casually asking. She's like, what's going on here? And Puffy was like, look, it's a nickname somebody gave me. And obviously Oprah being an interviewer, she was like, okay, but we're gonna prod here. And then Puff Daddy was like, look, I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one. He's like, no, we're gonna have a name change ceremony. I'm rocking with, a new moniker now. My man Biggie gave me that. So who else was at these parties? Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton were spotted enjoying the lavish and extravagant atmosphere. Going back to Usher, once again, so he was mentored by Puff Daddy. He was at a lot of these parties. He's mentioned a lot of the wild things, and he once, kind of handed over Bieber. Other high-profile guests included music icon Diana Ross, Hollywood actor Owen Wilson, but we're gonna go back to Ashton Kutcher for a moment. Because even though he said, I can't talk about anything, and oh, I never did anything, their friendship goes way back. In the mid-2000s, they were so close that they were like, oh, we're the new Rat Pack, us and Jamie Foxx. So when Ashton said like, hey, I can't talk about a lot of this, what can't you talk about? Because the Daily Mail is like, hey, we think you might be expecting a subpoena soon about what you do know. And sure, yeah, Puffy has said, nothing's happening. But if Ashton Kutcher is worried about potential betrayal, what would he be betrayed about? Just saying.
In the shadow of the increasingly horrifying Diddy controversy, a barely known celebrity power couple was broken apart. Jennifer Lopez, henceforth J-Lo, filed for divorce from her husband Ben Affleck in August of this year, something which many had seen coming as they hadn't been seen together for months, and it seemed that they were slowly drifting apart. But it does seem that a simple falling out of love may not be the full story. It's no secret J-Lo dated Diddy decades ago and was likely therefore at least familiar with his freak-offs and other crimes. She was present when, in 1999, allegedly Diddy propelled lead from his hand device into 3 people at a nightclub, which was then allegedly pinned on young rapper Shine, getting him put in prison for 8 years. So suffice to say, J-Lo was pretty close with Diddy, and was possibly even part of protecting him from legal consequence by denying the gat was his. When Diddy's mansion was raided, all sorts of things were recovered, from dangerous tools and illicit substances to the famed 1,000 bottles of baby oil, several toys, and even recorded tapes of his illicit and immoral activities. I could go on about how idiotic it is to both record and then store your crimes, but no one's defending Diddy, and this story is about the power couple themselves. Well, according to Suge Knight, not exactly the most innocent person either, amongst Diddy's many freak-off tapes were several tapes of J-Lo. Now, the details on what was in this footage is pretty hazy. Suge himself said they showed J-Lo doing this and J-Lo doing that, but what this and that are is unknown. That makes it pretty concerning given just what we know happened at these parties. This and that could mean anything from recreational illicit use to harder, not so recreational use, to the conducting of several illicit adult actions, potentially with multiple participants, and in possibly the worst case could show J-Lo forcibly interacting with people at these parties, which would be pretty disturbing. Well, when Diddy's mansion was raided in March, it seems that several of these tapes were recovered. By complete coincidence, this is the last time Ben and Jennifer were thought of as a happy couple, with a distinct lack of affection being noticed by reporters from May to August when the divorce was finalized. According to Suge Knight, this is no coincidence whatsoever. He believes that Ben Affleck, a powerful and famous man, was likely given or shown a copy of the tapes of J-Lo by some concerned party. Suge seems quite positive that Affleck did in fact see the videos and was troubled by them, but the details are not known. Given that the FBI is involved and is holding the evidence, it likely wasn't strictly legal for Affleck to be able to view this footage in the first place, so it leaves a big question as to how he may have received it. Diddy was a prolific recorder and allegedly recorded most of the depraved things that he coerced, manipulated, and forced other people to do. Much of this was, it's believed, intended as leverage against those people to keep them quiet and compliant. It's very possible that these videos are such leverage, possibly recorded intentionally and orchestrated to be as vile and embarrassing as possible. If so, then in a way these videos may have had their intended effect, to harm J-Lo and destabilize her life once uncovered. However, it's just as likely that these videos show J-Lo doing some pretty reprehensible things of her own will. Things Affleck may not want to be anywhere near or associated with someone who did. It does seem strange that the power couple united after decades of controversy, and right after P. Diddy's home is raided, they end up going through some marital troubles. Now, it was J-Lo who filed for divorce, as far as we can tell, but they were both clearly losing interest, judging by Affleck skipping her birthday and several other incidents. However, we do not know the circumstances the couple was under. It may be that J-Lo herself is going to end up facing criminal charges, and it's better for Ben and their kids for them to be separate. Or maybe Affleck saw something that changed how he viewed her, and she eventually couldn't stand the alienation and filed for divorce. The reporting around this subject has been really strange, with People magazine saying that she was done waiting for Affleck and that he wasn't giving her any signs that he wanted to continue the marriage. Allegedly, they'd been separated since late April. Now, that would seem to put the brakes on the idea that it was the footage that broke them up, but it may still be the case that they separated for one reason and stayed separate for another. The latest drama really starts here though. Ever since people found out about potential illicit video of J-Lo at the peak of her fame and popularity, there's been a clamoring to see it. Of course, with the evidence being held by the FBI, it seems impossible for there to be a leak, as this evidence is likely critical for the full scope of the trial. And yet, there has allegedly been a leak of some truly foul footage involving J-Lo and highly illegal CSA behavior. It's also been alleged that Ben Affleck was well aware of what was going on at the freak-offs and of J-Lo's involvement, which could put a whole new spin on things. So why are some sources stating that Ben Affleck is the source of the leak? It does fit nicely. Innocent husband finds out something horrible about his wife, divorces her, and then in revenge leaks the footage of this horrible thing. Except he didn't divorce her, she divorced him, and there's no reason to believe Affleck was the one behind the leak. If it's true that he knows more than he's let on, it's likely that both Ben and Jen are scrabbling to protect their reputations right now, and that an unrelated marriage dispute could be a good way for at least Affleck to stay out of the situation. But where did the leak come from? Well, several sources are claiming the leak was actually from rapper 50 Cent. It's no secret that 50 hates Diddy with a passion and has even been compiling a catalog of footage and recordings of the worst things Diddy has done, all with the plans of releasing a feature-length documentary sometime in the future. Allegedly, 50 leaked several videos of J-Lo doing some pretty disgusting things well after she and Diddy were apparently broken up. Now, we all know the sort of evil Diddy is, manipulative and coercive, and J-Lo herself has said several times that she was obsessed with him and very unstable at the time. Well, 50 takes this a step farther, alleging that even after their breakup, J-Lo was still obsessed and more than willing to do whatever Diddy wanted. Hence, these horrifying tapes. Some are still questioning whether J-Lo was a willing or coerced participant, and that's a valuable conversation to have, but just because one person is misused doesn't give them the right to misuse others without consequence. Most of this is speculation, as very few details have come to light. We do not have the benefit of hindsight, and we have no idea where the next twist in this story will come from. We have to slowly live through it until the trial is done and details are made public. The questions abound, however. Did the raid on Diddy's mansion lead to illicit footage of J-Lo doing incriminating acts? Well, almost certainly. But was Ben Affleck then shown those tapes? And did that then lead to a souring of their marriage? Or was Ben well aware of the depravity and it was a mutual decision to keep his name out of the limelight? Did Ben Affleck, in a vengeful rage, release the footage to the public? Or was it someone else, like 50 Cent or any other number of Diddy haters? We will be following this story very closely as it continues to evolve and develop, and I have to say I'm just dying to know the truth. I just need to know if I can listen to On the Floor guilt-free or if it has to go in the Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, R. Kelly pile of songs.
During an intimate discussion with Oprah, peeling away the layers of his complex life that we now know all too much about, Puffy once evoked curiosity by avoiding details about the origin of his well-known moniker. The conversation, part of an interview for Oprah's O magazine, began casually. Oprah just inquired about the name's beginnings, and Puffy said, "It's a nickname somebody gave me." And now Oprah being Oprah, she probed a little further, and he got reserved. He said, "I've never told anyone that. I know you can get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one." He said, "No more Puff Daddy. The first week in June, we're gonna have a name change ceremony." Now, that was something he announced in 2001. He said, "No, I'm gonna rock with the name that we all know him by now." He said, "My man Biggie gave me that name." Now, this was all after crimes committed by Puffy that I can't talk about on here without sounding like a cartoon character, but I'm sure you can find them. Also, this is kind of around the same time that folks assumed that Puff Daddy had something to do with the passing of Biggie. Make of that what you will. Now, in terms of folks who have called Oprah out for hanging out with icky people, Rose McGowan is the name you're going to want to remember. She's called Oprah as fake as they come in a scathing Twitter post. Now, this was technically over Oprah's friendship with scummy producers who I can't even name because they're that awful. She shared a photo of Oprah kissing a disgraced Hollywood producer on the cheek. Nope, we can't show that photo, folks. Just work with me here. It was a photograph taken at the 2014 Critics' Choice Movie Awards. It's really easy to find. Now, Rose McGowan is an early Me Too activist. She's accused a lot of folks of wrongdoing, specifically this particular producer who I can't name. So she accompanied that photo with a caption reading, "I am glad more are seeing the ugly truth of Oprah. I wish she were real, but she isn't." From being pals with insert anonymous producer's name here, to abandoning and destroying victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain. Once again, she is as fake as they come. Hashtag lizard. Now, the victims she referred to are those of a hip-hop music mogul. Technically not the one I'm talking about today, but put 2 and 2 together and make 4, folks. She was talking about one who was accused of more than a dozen cases of SA or misconduct since 2017. So not the 2024 situation. Now that guy responded by admitting inappropriate conduct in some instances, but he disputed the allegations of non-consensual interactions. So here's the thing. As allegations continue surfacing about all these infamous white parties, the freak-offs, and all the other hula-baloo, so it might be a hot minute before we get the details that we're looking for because everybody had to sign an NDA. So if we're looking at it, it's pretty boilerplate. You can't share information related to the disgraced music mogul, you can't talk about partners, family members, friends, business associates, you can't photograph, film, or record Puff Daddy or anybody around him without written consent, you can't, and like it names the specific social media platforms where you can't post any photos or videos of the bad boy founder without permission. You also can't give an interview, you can't write a book, you can't discuss anything you saw or anything you were part of, and it just really covers anything that could get Puffy into trouble. Granted, the NDA does expire. Like I did some research and very popular news outlets, the 3 initial ones, they say that the signed document is valid for the length of Puff Daddy's life, plus 20 years or 70 years. Yeah, whichever is longer. Look, it's boilerplate, but it's, kind of explaining why anybody that attended these parties kind of needs his written consent to share any info, and seeing as he's currently behind bars and keeping tight lips, yeah, I know. But here's the thing, the NDA hasn't kept the authorities out of somebody's business. Even though it sounds airtight, we all know some of his deepest secrets, and that kind of was enough for the city of Miami to say, we want our key back. Now, they gave him the key in 2015, so 9 years ago, after his former media company, Revolt, held the Revolt Music Conference in the city. Now, after the footage came out of him and Cassie, poor thing, and all the allegations and the arrest, Miami was like, yeah, no. They also said no more to Puff Daddy Day. That was an annual thing on October 13th, apparently. And also, this isn't the first key to the city he's lost this year. Back in June, New York was like, absolutely not. The mayor sent a letter asking for the honorary key back, and Puff Daddy was like, okay, here you go. And that's not the only thing that's been like, yeah, no, we want our stuff back. I believe Howard University revoked the honorary degree that Puffy received in 2014. And remember when I mentioned Revolt a moment ago? Yeah, that was sold back to the employees. They were like, yep, no, here you go, take that back. He doesn't deserve it. So one person who has come forward might provide some answers as to why everybody else is staying mum. 50 Cent has had a lot to say about Puffy, about Oprah, you name it, we're gonna say it. Now, he's addressed his relationship with Puffy in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. And he was like, look, I worked in the same circles as Puffy back in the day, and he kind of explained why he never attended any parties. He said, I've been very vocal about not going to Puffy parties and doing like that. I've been staying out of that for years. It's just an uncomfortable energy connected to it. Yes, I'm self-believing myself, folks. It's easier for my editor. So he asked to take me shopping, 50 said. I thought that was the weirdest in the world because that might be something that somebody says to somebody they're interested in romantically. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not effing with this weird energy or weird coming off the way he was just moving. From that, I wasn't comfortable around him. The producer and actor is actually making a documentary about the allegations. I believe Netflix bought the rights back in May, and apparently the proceeds from the docuseries is going to go towards victims of SA. Now, when folks asked, like, hey, like, why are you making this documentary? 50 Cent said, I'm the only one from hip-hop culture that's produced quality projects. We do have a lot of talent within our culture where the talent has developed a comfortability in front of the camera, so they're usually a part of it as an actor or driving force of why someone would watch the project, but not the behind-the-scenes production, producing the whole project. So there's a difference. Now, once again, folks, you gotta remember, 50 Cent worked adjacent to Puffy in the early 2000s, but he's like, nope, we were never, ever, ever friends. He said, and I quote, it was mostly work. I wouldn't call it a friendship because there wouldn't be disappointment between us if we didn't speak to each other. There's points that we worked together. Jennifer Lopez actually told him he should work with 50 Cent as a songwriter in the beginning, and I was around that early stages, and he could have done my record deal at that point, which was around the year 2000, folks, if you're looking for a timeline. Now, 50 Cent said, following me being fired up by somebody who had a weapon outside of somebody's grandmother's house, and after Trackmaster signed Puffy, 50 Cent said, I'm just getting back to work, and Puffy would call me to write. And he mentioned somebody else would answer the phone. 50 Cent didn't want to get on the phone, and he was like, no, 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 no. And somebody else was like, what the heck, we need money. And 50 Cent was like, no, I don't want to talk to him. He said, I didn't want to party with him, I didn't want to hang out with him. Puffy's a business person. When people call him a producer, I see people that were taken advantage of, who produce things that he took from them. He got the credit, but he's not a producer. He's been able to take advantage of the business and the creatives in it. I don't have any interest in doing that. I actually fall under the creative, so I just didn't take to hanging out with that. Now, 50 Cent got asked, hey, why isn't everybody else speaking up like you are? He said, well, some of them were involved, the parties, and enjoy themselves, so they don't know what the F is on tape or what's not on tape, so they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you've got other people who look and go, well, that's not my business and I don't want to be it. And then you've got a part of culture that says, that's snitching. And it's not uncomfortable for 50 Cent to say what they said because they've been saying it for however many years. I've been telling you, I don't mess with them, I don't like the way you're moving, this is crazy. Everybody else is not going to be as comfortable as I am saying it. So in March of 2012, Kim Kardashian was doused in flour while walking the red carpet at the launch of her perfume, True Reflection in West Hollywood. Now, prior to the attack, Kim looked really cute. She was wearing these tight black pants, a matching blazer, a bright blue blouse. It was fun. It was that business casual-esque sort of look, but the flour ended up covering her entire upper half and her hair and like, ugh, getting that out of your hair, it's like paste. So at the time, TMZ reported that Kim and her momager, Kris Jenner, were quickly ushered into a private room following the incident, and then Kim came back out later laughing off the ordeal, being like, oh my gosh, that is probably the craziest, unexpected, weird thing that ever happened to me. Like, I said to my makeup artist that I wanted more powder, and that's a whole lot of translucent powder right there. Meanwhile, the assailant reportedly ran off after throwing the flour, but was intercepted by somebody who worked for Kim and held until the police arrived. She was arrested, but Kim opted not to press charges, with the woman being released shortly afterwards. Now, at the time, everybody thought that the attack was animal rights oriented. Apparently, the woman shouted "fur hog" when she threw the flour. And previously, PETA had called out Kim for her love of fur, but the organization denied that they were involved. And trust me, they love to take credit when they do something like that. So here's the thing, folks. Kim Kardashian's former media strategist, Shiraz Hassan, alleged that the infamous incident was actually staged to help promote this whole perfume launch. In the documentary, The Kardashians' Billion-Dollar Dynasty, he claimed he told her, okay, this is what's gonna happen, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be safe, but we're going to create a media moment. If we create media gold, guess what's gonna happen? Everybody's going to be talking about your perfume, everybody's going to buy it. Well, that's a weird way of doing it, but I guess no publicity is bad publicity? That's the phrase, right? So long before the most recent Hollywood scandals we can't talk about emerged, there were rumors about the casting couch, a term used to describe stars who are given roles in exchange for favors of a carnal nature. Megan Fox gave an interview to GQ and put the rumors to rest by laying out the cold, hard facts. The actress said that Hollywood legends would invite her to meet, and she would be so excited for the opportunity. Then when she would show up, she would realize that the meeting was just a ruse. She said a lot of the men were able to get away with sleeping with a lot of women in the industry, but she wasn't one of them. She would shut them down immediately, and that kind of explains why her acting career kind of fell to the wayside for a bit. The history of the casting couch is lengthy, with many guilty of its use. An early practitioner was Louis B. Mayer, who co-founded Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios back in 1924. MGM? Mayer, the ground zero of this kind of harm, had the means, motive, opportunity, and that critical piece of the puzzle. The power. If women didn't comply, he'd threaten to ruin their careers or those of their loved ones. Yeah, sound familiar? So according to film critic and historian Carrie Rickey, the perils for women in Hollywood are embedded, like landmines, from an actress's debut to her swan song. This is a place where big moguls wouldn't cast starlets unless they auditioned in bed, which so freaking gross. So everybody calls Elvis Presley the king of rock and roll, but I think that title really belongs to Chuck Berry. The man was a rock pioneer, and with a little help from Marty McFly, he produced some all-time classics like Johnny B. Good, Roll Over Beethoven. Rolling Stone even went so far as to deem him the 5th greatest artist of all time. But and it's a big one. While he's one of America's greatest musicians, there are some who'd say he's also one of America's biggest creeps. I know, it broke my heart, but over the years he has had multiple run-ins with the law. In the 70s he was arrested for income tax evasion. In 1987 he was arrested for harming a woman. In 1990 police raided his home and made off with a lot of substances and weapons. But things get worse if we go way back in time. Well, not way back, but like 1961. He was arrested for transporting a female across state lines for naughty purposes. And sadly, that wasn't the only time he was accused of freaky behavior. In 1990, he was sued by multiple women, all of whom claimed he had videotaped them while using the bathroom. Now, this restroom in question was located in a St. Louis restaurant owned by the rock star, but instead of going to court, he settled. Supposedly, the whole ordeal cost him $1.2 million plus legal fees, and it really goes to show that when you're talking about beloved celebrities, you can never tell. So sometimes all it takes is an illicit substance for an actor or actress to put on their best performance. Tinseltown has been known to allegedly supply many A-list stars with a never-ending flow of their favorite vice. Actor Dennis Quaid revealed he had a casual addiction to no-no snow before becoming a huge star. When he first moved to LA in 1974, he dabbled with it here and there, but things didn't get out of control until he was booked to appear in mainstream films. He did reveal that no-no snow was listed in movies' budgets, but it was disguised as petty cash to keep the substance stuff on sets a secret, or an open secret. He claimed this was freely given out on movie sets because it was the norm. It was something everybody was doing. Now, looking back on it, he called his addiction one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. He said being addicted to it caused his entire life to fall apart. Even Jack Nicholson has spoken candidly about his use of substances. In a 1980 interview, he said, it ain't no big thing, and he still loved to, have fun about 4 days a week, which like, that sounds a little dangerous, a little too much, but what do I know? The Brady Bunch was one of TV's most wholesome shows. When it first hit the air in 1969, it was one of the first TV shows to portray a blended family. Whether you watched the show when it first aired or caught it in reruns, it has been a staple for generations, thanks to its family-friendly storytelling. And sorry to be the one to break it to you, but this show had a dark side too. And the youngest Brady, Cindy, otherwise known as Susan Olsen, spilled some serious scoop. So rumors of behind-the-scenes hookups have always run rampant, and this happens on any show. But Olsen confirmed the actors were all hooking up with each other in one way or another. She said, we led a sheltered life for part of the year, so if there was anybody to get a crush on or to try to date, it would be our counterparts. Now look, they weren't real life brothers and sisters, so I guess it's not so bad. According to Olsen, she and Mike Lookinland started having a makeout session in Tiger's doghouse when they were on the show. And yes, the thing that you're feeling right now are the last shreds of your innocence leaving your soul. I know. I'm sorry to break your heart. So Mean Girls was a hit when it released in 2004, and it's gone on to become a cultural phenomenon. This film, starring Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams, gave us The Plastics, it gave us Fetch, Burn Books, Pink Wednesdays. It's inspired a whole culture. It's infiltrated our language. When you compare somebody to Regina George, you know what it means. There's references scattered throughout pop culture to this day. However, despite everything that's been written about the film, there's a dark side of it that's rarely ever been addressed. So Daniel, who played lovable pal Damien, was a real-life victim of bullying, on this set and on other sets. It took many years for him to open up about the experience, only going public in 2007 when he accused actress Bijou Phillips of bullying him. Now, the pair worked together on his first film, ironically named Bully in 2001, and he accused her of body-shaming him and making him feel uncomfortable by asking about his sexuality. Now, Phillips later issued a public apology, but denied being homophobic. So powerful figures in Hollywood have continued to enjoy strong careers even after horrible allegations of on-set harm. Let's spin the wheel, Quentin Tarantino. In an interview with the New York Times about a disgraced Hollywood producer, Uma Thurman talked about her experience with Tarantino on Pulp Fiction and many other movies, and she said that he both put his hands around her neck and spit on her for different moments in the films. And he confirmed these allegations, but he defended his reasoning. Uma Thurman also said that Tarantino pushed her into doing a dangerous stunt that ended in a serious car accident. Now she's forgiven him, because apparently he sent her the footage and called it the biggest regret of his life, but she continues to blame, rightfully so, all the producers for the traumatic event and their alleged efforts to cover it up. Now, in response to these allegations, in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, one producer said, "I deeply regret that Uma suffered the pain she has, both physically and emotionally, for all of these years from the accident that occurred on the set. The safety of the producers who work on the movies I produce is vital to me. I will never let anyone down." And he tried to deny that there was any cover-up, but like, sir?